Well, Louisiana is suing U.S. Homeland Security, U.S. Immigration, and other agency leaders. The suit claims a detainee from China who tested positive for tuberculosis was taken to holding centers across the state, and it names the Richwood Correctional Center in Monroe.
What we're dealing with is a form of a drug-resistant tuberculosis. And again, at this time, we have no indication that the public is in any danger. Patient 0 started in China and made its way through an illegal border crossing and ended up in the United States, where patient 0 was apprehended in California and then sent to a federal facility in Louisiana.
The suit seeks a temporary restraining order to stop ICE from releasing detainees until cleared by the Louisiana Department of Health. Again, the Richwood Correctional Center is named as the defendant in that lawsuit. We contacted their warden and ICE, but have not heard back. However, Monroe Police and the Ouachita Parish Sheriff's Office say their officers did not come in contact with the patient.